police are there not to promote our welfare or for our security and our safety, but they're there to contain us, to brutalize us and murder us.
Throughout history, African Americans have struggled with police brutality in silence. But in 1966, there emerged a group with methods so revolutionary, so forceful, and so unapologetic that America had no choice but to listen. This is the tale of justice, a tale of pride, and a tale of hope. This is the Black Panther Party. From the 50s to the early 60s, the civil rights movement was effective in delivering legal empowerment for Black Americans. President Lyndon Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965, legally ending segregation in public life and in the polls. However, it was not enough. On paper, segregation had been outlawed, but in cities across America, Black people lived in inequity. They lived in derelict housing, went to underfunded schools, and faced rampant police brutality. The civil rights movement and its traditional non-violent approach could not fully fix the socioeconomic issues that plagued urban African Americans in the 1960s. This time, a new approach was needed. Enter Black Power. The Black Power movement championed the idea of Black self-reliance and self-determination instead of integration.
It becomes a unapologetic call for Black pride, for Black ownership of their political identity. They did not want to be kind of dependent anymore on what white liberals wanted to happen. They wanted to set the terms of their own political destiny.
Prominent Black Power leaders like Malcolm X rejected nonviolence and instead advocated for the use of self-defense to stop Black oppression.
I think Negroes should, in areas where the police, whether it be federal, state, or city, have proven their inability or their unwillingness to defend Negroes, the lives and the property of Negroes, then it's only intelligent and it's only right that Negroes protect themselves. And I have encouraged them to buy a rifle and a shotgun, which according to the Constitution is legal.
Oakland, California. The year is 1966. Like other urban areas across the U.S., many Black citizens of Oakland faced unequal treatment by the police. In fact, that year, only 2.5% of Oakland PD was Black. Inspired by Malcolm X and other Black Power leaders, Huey Newton and Bobby Seale, students of Merritt College founded the Black Panther Party for self-defense in Oakland on October 15th of 1966. Newton, a law student, understood that openly carrying a firearm was perfectly legal in California. So the Black Panthers, donning black leather jackets and berets, began a patrol program where they would each carry a shotgun and watch police officers from a distance as they interacted with Black citizens. While the main purpose of the Panther patrols was to deter police brutality, they also served to ensure that African Americans were being read their rights. Miranda v. Arizona, the court case that mandated police officers to read rights to those they arrest, was decided 4 months before the party was founded. The Panthers were among the first to verify that police officers were reading Black Americans their rights. As the Black Panthers not only intimidated predominantly white officers, but also called for more Black people to take up arms, the legislators of California grew worried. California State Assemblyman Don Mulford introduced Assembly Bill 1591, which prohibited public carrying of loaded firearms without a permit, a direct response to the patrols of the Black Panthers. Interestingly, both Republicans and the National Rifle Association were in staunch support of this bill. It's ironic that two organizations who normally oppose gun control heavily supported it when it restricted African Americans.
There's absolutely no reason why out on the street today civilians should be carrying a loaded weapon.
So, on May 2nd of 1967, the Black Panthers marched into the California State Legislature to oppose the passage of the bill. The bill still passed, but the Panthers didn't lose. Instead, this event propelled the party into the national spotlight almost immediately. With this newfound publicity, the party grew massive support, adding chapters in 48 states and countries across the world. from cities like Chicago, Seattle, and Philadelphia to countries like the United Kingdom and Algeria. The Black Panther Party and its goal of self-determination took off. The main appeal of the Panthers was their defiance of authority. They stood as a beacon of hope for oppressed people across the world, inspiring activists to step up and challenge their system. Worldwide, people began their own versions of the party. For example, the Dalits, members of the lowest caste in India, faced severe discrimination and poverty. After reading the Panthers newspaper, Dalits established the Dalit Panthers in 1972 and used similar tactics as the Black Panthers to help end the oppression they faced. Directly, the Black Panther Party changed the tide of policing in America. The Panthers began in 1966 with the goal of ending police brutality of Black Americans. Unfortunately, even today in 2024, police violence against minorities is still a prevalent issue. In the 60s, the Panthers surveilled the police with guns in hand. But almost 6 decades later, citizens today surveil the police, not with guns, but with phone cameras. Videoing evidence of police brutality and using the internet to raise awareness is a tactic that citizens today use to stop unfair treatment by police. Further, the Black Panthers' influence can be seen in body cameras that most police departments require their officers to wear. The Black Panther Party thus directly championed the vigilance of police officers by everyday citizens we see today, altering the course of American activism and policing in America.
The Panthers' legacy is that police brutality is unacceptable. People used to say the police are going to beat us up, right? Now people step in, they take pictures, they do what they can.
The Panthers were far more than a symbol of Black militancy. For many in the Black community, they were a tangible symbol of hope. When Newton and Seal founded the party in 1966, they released a 10-point program, outlining their goals and ideals for which the Panthers were fighting. These included demands like decent housing and exemption from military drafts for all Black Americans. The party rejected previous calls for reliance on others to improve their situations. Instead, they took a grassroots approach to fighting the social problems facing African Americans by responding directly to their community's needs. Starting in 1967, the Panther chapters across the country started over 60 so-called community survival programs, including free breakfast for children, free clothing, free sickle cell anemia testing, free health clinics, and free pest control. The Black Panther Party used these programs to fill in the socioeconomic disparities facing Black folks, and these programs were extremely effective. The Free Breakfast for Children program, for example, fed thousands of children across America every single morning. Eating food donated by local businesses, the children were then walked to school by the Panthers. At the peak of the program, the Black Panther Party was feeding more children than the state of California.
You had the first generation of Black working class kids who were going to college. And many of them felt guilty that they had been selected 1 out of 1,000 to go to a college, and look back at all the other kids that didn't have that privilege. The Black Panthers offered them the opportunity and a kind of a structure to go back in a structured way and do something about that.
In September of 1968, Huey Newton was sentenced to 2 years of voluntary manslaughter in the death of a police officer. Over the next 2 years, much changed within the party. Infighting led to factions forming, which ultimately caused members to turn on each other. By the time Newton was released in 1970, the party had greatly lost its purpose and focus. Simultaneously, the FBI labeled the Panthers as a communist hate group and instituted a counterintelligence program where they orchestrated the murders of Panther members, spread misinformation within the party, and tainted the image of the group. Together, these factors caused the party to completely dissolve in 1982. Though often misunderstood, the Black Panther Party was, at its core, the Black community's response to the oppression they faced. The Panthers were activists, using unorthodox and radical methods to advocate for themselves and for the needs of their communities. The Black Panther Party serves as an eternal testament to the merits of self-determination in times of oppression. broadly, they show us that when no one stands up for you, you must do it yourself.